Well, time for another update on gold and silver and platinum and palladium, all the precious metals, because I really cover everything. Because I don't. Well, let me put it this way. Actually, do think even the other silver metals are probably going to do just as well as silver itself, palladium and platinum. But I want to talk a little bit more about gold on this one, because what I think is going to happen is we're going to have Moody's downgrade the U.S. bond rating, AAA. It's no longer going to be AAA. I know they did the negative outlook some months ago, whenever the heck that was, and S&P downgraded the U.S. debt back in August of 2011. But Moody's is already threatening to do the same. Now, there's going to be several things coming up, and there's going to be basic reasons or excuses why prices are going up. I think there's definitely going to, well, we know there is at one point in time, and I've been predicting this wrong too. I got to admit it, because I thought that they would attack Iran before the summer. I thought that. Even thought when Israel was talking up a lot of garbage, they might do it in November of 2011. But I looked at some of these analysts that talk, your former CIA analysts. They were talking about if Obama is likely to win the election. They talked about this months ago, and it does look that way. But there's another event that came up that makes me think something's going to happen too, which the ambassador in Libya. But if Obama wins the election on his second term, he's going to be tougher to deal with to get the war started with Iran. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm just saying this is reality. The forces behind the scenes. There's people that want the war with Iran. I could say what I want, but a lot of people don't disagree with that. But I think Iran should have their butt kicked. Tell you the truth. But the thing is that if Obama's in for the second term, he's going to be very difficult to deal with a war with Iran. So if it looks like he's going to win, they're going to start the war with Iran ahead of time. Now, I was a little suspicious, because I'm just too suspicious. I'm not too conspiratorial, but I'm suspicious on everything, because reading history, I realized that pretty much every war was almost like a setup. There's other reasons for the war other than what they tell the public and all this garbage. A lot of people are aware of that. And, I was talking about this September 11th, Tuesday, 2012 date. Nothing happened. But, hey, the next day, I don't know if this is how they do it. I shouldn't make a rumor about this. But I have, I know when the U.S. ambassador, Christopher Stevens, was killed yesterday, along with 3 other Americans. This is on Wednesday, September 12th. That could be, well, obviously there's going to be a hell of a lot more tensions in the area. They're sending Marines over to all the embassies. And it's almost like, to me, that's the spark that could start things. I don't want to start a rumor here, but I kind of smell something's up, besides what's just happened here. It's like, if Obama's going to be in office, they're going to want the war to start before the election. Now, the other thing is, if we're looking at what's going on with QE and stimulus, we're seeing all the metals going up, and we're seeing oil going up. Oil's like almost $100, right? I want to comment a little bit on that, too, because if you remember back in 2008, oil went up to $147. Gasoline was about $4 a gallon. Well, here oil is going up to not even $100, which is still high. Yet gasoline is almost the same price. So I'd imagine when this war starts with Iran, if it does, I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking it is because of this event that happened in Libya with the U.S. ambassador. When this war starts with Iran, gasoline's probably going to be like $8 a gallon or something like that. And so I'm going to interject other practical videos on motorcycles and automotive and all that other type of stuff in with this silver videos and gold videos, because I think getting down to practical things is more important than anything. It's like sometimes, well, I like doing the gold and silver videos, but it's almost like you're theorizing about things, and maybe it's theorizing about reality, but it's not giving you concrete steps to protect yourself other than buy gold, buy silver. Now, what I'm going to try to interject is when to sell it and try to buy it back. But I'm not a high-risk roller. I'm never going to sell all of it or most of it or even half of it. So I know you're going to have to hang on for a few more years. But selling some at crazy highs is probably not a bad idea if you could try to catch the ups and downs because, you know, not everybody's going to be able to do that, but I think some of the more smarter people will be able to. Now, looking at, gold and silver, there was like a, it's amazing. Sometimes you're looking at silver getting way ahead of platinum and palladium. And, I remarked that actually platinum and palladium are going to do real roughly, about as good as silver. And silver is actually going to do better than gold. Now, if you look at the ratio with platinum, it's 5% more than gold now. It was 15% more than gold. Traditionally, on average, going way back, platinum is 40% more than gold, and many times it's even more than twice. So, I bought some platinum a little too high, but now I'm ahead on it finally. But it's like I think it's going to be actually a better bet in the near term than gold. But I want to point out something else. We got this fiscal cliff coming up here as they talk about it, and this is actually what's going to drive gold up like crazy, and it's going to be a seesaw thing, because the only thing that, like Mark Farber says, Ben Bernanke's only recourse to action is to print more money one way or the other. Actually, he's doing some more novel things versus a QE. He's gonna, they're doing like a stealth QE right now. So, but they're running out of ammunition. So they're just going to keep doing more and more and more of the same until the whole system comes down. But Congress has to come up with another $109 billion in cuts or face automatic cuts at that level beginning in January 13. So over a 10-year period, the automatic spending cuts will be $1.2 trillion. Now, you know what that means? That means they're going to gut the military. But do you think that's going to happen if a war is started? No. So what does that look like for commodities? Commodities are going to go through the freaking roof. And I'm talking to precious metals too, big time. It's going to go through the freaking roof. Because they're going to break the budget. They're going to violate these rules. I guarantee it. I'm not just talking like conspiratorial here. And I'm not just shooting from the hip. I am reading them, their reactions. I know what these characters are going to do. That's the most important thing, even more than graphs and charts, which I think are important because they reflect the human nature, what humans will do. But I read these guys like, does Congress actually cut spending? Hell no, because it's all tied into the military-industrial complex. War means big bucks, big profits. And you know who suffers? The little guys, right? The people who fight it, right? So I know what's going to happen with this. They're pushing off, and right now Congress and the White House will likely delay action on avoiding the fiscal cliff until after the election. They're going to be talking back and forth about this crap, and they're not going to do anything to resolve it till after the election. They're just putting it off. So what's going to happen, though, I think even before the election starts, is you're going to have the war with Iran, which means, hey, we can't have these cuts in our military. Oh, we can't. I know it. The military-industrial complex isn't going to go down. This is one of the beefs I always had with Ron Paul because, listen to me on this because I know you guys are going to be mad at me at this crap, because I talk about Ron Paul. I agree with this guy 110% principle practically. Maybe not 100%, but pretty damn close to everything he says. But he caved in on a lot of times when he's running into the primary where he could have had his own delegates, and he caved in on not going on a third party. I say that, right? But you know what kind of, but he was talking, he was going to dismantle the Federal Reserve and bring your troops home and to dismantle the military-industrial complex. Well, hell, that's about 1,000,000 times harder to do. Man, you're messing with the devil himself when you're freaking trying to dismantle that stuff. So I don't know. I always stated that, man, people are gonna hate me for saying this. He's kind of like, I suspect he was like the alternative focus point. You should believe in what he says, but don't get too much behind that guy because you're wasting your money on it. You'd be better off buying yourself food, silver, ammo, whatever the hell you got to do, stuff, water, modify vehicles for fuel efficiency or whatever the hell it is, versus getting behind all this political garbage. Because I'm gonna put out some more practical things on this and not just talk about the economy and stuff. But I want to give you a good heads up on how things are going to play out. 2013, everybody's talking about the fiscal cliff. Why? Because all the budget cuts are going to have to come about. I don't know if they're going to come about. Well, what's going to happen is they're not going to cut the military-industrial complex. You know that. They'll probably cut Social Security for all I know, right? Medicare. Every government program out there, but they're not going to cut the military because I think the war with Iran is going to be gone. And that alone is going to eat up so much money. They're just going to print more money, print more money, print more money, and prices are going to go through the roof. So you definitely need gold and silver to protect yourself. But more than that, you need to know, and see, this is always my angle. Hey, I can get by. My living expenses are so incredibly low. And with the money I have, I can last for years. If I had absolutely no money coming in, I can last for years and years and years and years. Nobody can say that. Not that I know. Even these people that are extremely wealthy, because they're on this treadmill, they might have a lot more money coming in, but they got that treadmill going. I got like extremely low expenses, and I was very shrewd on doing this for years. That I've actually been preparing for this crap for quite some time, to tell you the truth. Because I think the game with the Federal Reserve is an end. It's an end game, and I knew about this from the 80s, so it's just the mentality. I always took tiny little steps. But, that's why, since I've known this for so many freaking years, I don't panic every time there's a big drama story out there, too. I just tell people, hey, but if you don't want to do it, screw you, That's the way I look at it. But in 2013, when they have a lot of these budget cuts hitting, it's going to, they're probably going to cut a lot of parts of the budget except for the military-industrial complex. But considering there's a worldwide global slowdown and actually a depression in practically most of Europe, there's definitely a serious depression going on in Greece and probably Spain and maybe even Italy. China doesn't really have a place to sell to, goods to sell to. If it's slowing down in USA, it's slowing down in Europe. They're going to slow down too. So I'm thinking is, watch this silver-gold ratio. If that ratio starts getting down to 30 to 1, I don't know, if you're scared of fiat, I'm going to take some fiat. But I would trade some silver for gold. And then wait. Gold is going to have to go through the roof. But I stated, there's one thing I hate about gold. It's I keep worrying about they're going to make it so if you try to trade it in for the currency that we need to use to exchange goods for, they're going to stop you. They're going to stop you, or they're going to mandate something or some kind of crap. So I have got my antennas out on this stuff left and right. And that was another reason I went mainly into palladium versus gold. But that is actually a more volatile metal than silver. It's ridiculous. It's all over the place. But I think that's going to play out. But I am expecting, just to sum up, I'm expecting that we're probably going to have this war before the election. Before the election. Gas prices are going to go through the roof. Food prices are going to go through the roof. And the metals are going to go through the roof. And I don't know exactly how fast. I'm thinking, I would love to think that silver is going to go to 150 an ounce like in short order, but I'm thinking it's going to go between 60 and 75 and pull back. Somehow the empire doesn't fall apart as fast as you think. And the United States, I know you can say rah, 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 the United States is never going to fall and all this kind of shit, but it's still a hell of a lot stronger than what happened. We got the examples of the Weimar Republic. We got examples of Argentina. We got examples of what happened even in Russia in '98. But the United States is still pretty much a strong power beneath the surface. Despite all the problems, it is a very strong power. That's why it's not going to fall apart that fast. And in actuality, if you get down to real substantial, hardcore, concrete things you can like knock on, instead of fluff and electronic BS, you have actually producers and not people that have to push paper for bureaucracy. You have people that are like building the motorcycles and stuff like that, for transportation and necessary goods, people that are growing the crops. The economy is going to do fine because the numbers are like, if we look at the GDP today, there's so much bullshit in that GDP that is essential to people that is just figured as a big number. The numbers look good. We got to get back to like the basics. And I've always looked at like when Rome fell. This is a primary example. When Rome fell, what did the so-called barbarians see as the most vital people? It was like the blacksmiths, the stonemasons, the ones that knew how to build things, the agricultural people, the ones that know how to work leather for the horse saddles and whatever the hell they had at that time. Those type of people were much more valuable than the orators, the ones that know how to recite Greek prose, the attorneys, and all this other shit. Those kind of people were worthless, and we're like loaded down with those kind of people in the United States. The professionals. I'm a professional. I've been a professional accountant for like a number of years, and I dealt with a number of areas, but I've always couldn't stand those kind of people. And I'm going to tell you right now, like my uncle was a big-time CPA in New York City, had offices in, when he was alive, Manhattan, and the Chrysler Building was one of the top in his field. But he was a very, very, very down-to-earth person, could not stand the phonies, used to do his own work, on everything himself, built his own swimming pool and patio and concrete, and did stuff in the house where extensions on the top, where you had to add things on to do his own construction and all that type of stuff. Just professional freaking phony bullshit artists. I hate their guts. I don't know, maybe I got some of that from him too, because even though he was very good at what he taught, he talked very plain, talked very working class, and knew his shit. So I am basically going to stick in with the real, and I realize that that's the most important. And I'm going to actually interject a lot of videos in here other than gold and silver, because we got to get down to more practical things that help people in the middle class than screwing around with just talking about politics. But if you want to judge something, man, I hate to tell people to buy oil, because I bought oil before and it's still down, but I'm thinking it's going to be up. But I think one of the shrewdest things you could do, is watch that silver-gold ratio. And as it gets down really far, get rid of some of your silver, take some fiat, get some essentials, stockpile things, and maybe trade a little bit for gold if you're really nervous about holding on to the fiat. And I'm thinking that this 2013 crash is going to come about. The fiscal cliff, it's going to come about. I'm going to have to play it by ear a little bit, because if it might be a reaction of mass printing of money too. And if that's the case, then the metals will be the place to be. So like I said, I'm going to try to judge when this crash is going to occur, where you see the pullback in the silver, but I'm only doing with some of it. I am too nervous to sell all of it. So, but just keep in mind that the United States might go down pretty fast at one point in time. That may happen, and it looks that way on paper, but they could throw you so many curveballs. It's not good to look at all the drama from all the silver bloggers all the time, because they've been wrong a lot. They've been wrong a lot. The empire doesn't fall apart as fast as you think. So, I want to try to judge the ins and outs, and I think that's an important consideration.